Iran is burning. Beginning December 28, 2025, mass protests erupted across the nation, from Tehran's Grand Bazaar to the holy city of Qom, ignited by an economic catastrophe that has left ordinary Iranians gasping for survival. Well, the rial has collapsed to a record low of 1.45 million per dollar last week. Inflation has surged to 42.2%. Food prices have jumped over 72% year-on-year basis. And what started as shopkeepers demanding stable exchange rates has evolved into something far more threatening to Iran's theocracy, a nationwide uprising with explicit demand for regime change. By January 4, at least 16 people were laid dead as they were shot by security forces with live ammunition across 113 locations in 46 cities. Protesters chant death to Khamenei, death to the dictator, and neither Gaza nor Lebanon, my life for Iran. A damning indictment of the regime's spending on regional proxies while its own people starve. The Grand Bazaar, historically the financial engine of the Islamic Republic, has shut down completely. The IRGC faces open questions about its loyalty as its orders are disobeyed on the streets for the first time in many years. Now here comes the most interesting part. According to intelligence files obtained by The Times, Iran's supreme leader is preparing to flee. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has devised what Western intelligence described as a Plan B, a contingency to escape Tehran with up to 20 family members and aides, including his designated hire, his son Mujtaba, if his security forces collapse and fail to stop the protesters. The trigger is also very clear. If the army and the police begin deserting or defecting, Khamenei will abandon his 35-year-old grip on Iran. And like deposed strongmen before him, he has chosen Moscow as his refuge. Well, the parallels are impossible to ignore. In December 2024, Bashar al-Assad, Khamenei's closest regional ally, the linchpin of Iran's axis of resistance, fled Damascus as opposition forces closed in. He did not seek sanctuary in Iran. Despite the close partnership, he went to Moscow where Putin granted him asylum. Today, Bashar al-Assad sits under Iran's supervision, banned from public appearances, confined to Moscow apartment like a ghost in exile. Now let's talk about Nicolas Maduro, who was not so fortunate. The Venezuelan dictator, celebrated by Iran's revolutionary elite as a comrade in anti-American struggle, faced a different fate on January 3, 2026. US Special Forces penetrated Venezuelan air defenses, conducted a midnight raid on Caracas, and extracted Maduro from his compound. He arrived in Brooklyn, not as a guest, but as a detainee, facing charges on drug trafficking and narco-terrorism. Now here the pattern is unmistakable. Putin's dictator allies are falling clearly, and those who flee are discovering that Moscow offers not sanctuary but a glided cage, and Khamenei understands this very calculus. Now, multiple reports also point to that he admires Putin and considers Russian culture closer to Iranian values than Western civilization. But the escape plan reveals something else: acknowledgement of inevitable defeat. In fact, intelligence assessment described Khamenei as weaker, both mentally and physically, since last year's 12-day war with Israel. During that conflict, while IRGC commanders were killed in Israeli strikes, Khamenei hid in a bunker, feeding his obsession with personal survival. Well, it also seems like preparation for Khamenei's Plan B have already begun, and it's being done very meticulously. As per report, Khamenei controls roughly $95 billion in assets through semi-state foundations like Sitar. And now Khamenei's men from his inner circle are securing cash, moving properties overseas, and positioning family members in foreign land. And it indicates only one thing: when the moment comes, when he calculates that his forces can no longer protect him, he will have a safe corridor to Moscow. And amid the chaos, one thing is also clear: that across the Middle East and Latin America, Putin's network is disintegrating. Assad is confined, Maduro is in prison, and Khamenei is preparing to flee. And the axis of resistance that Iran spent decades constructing, lavishing billions on proxies in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, and Yemen, have crumbled in months. And Iranians are demanding it belongs to them, not to a supreme leader hiding in bunkers, and certainly not to the proxies that have betrayed common Iranian for many decades. Well, Khamenei may escape to Moscow, but he will arrive as what Assad has become: irrelevant, dependent, and utterly useless to the Kremlin.